Well, hello, everybody. This is Albina, and I am so excited to introduce to you my dear friend and our very own Iceman and a transformational breath guru, a fellow yoga teacher, and like I said, a dear friend, Mike Thacker. And the reason why I invited Mike to join me for a live interview on Facebook is actually a really fascinating topic of cold plunging, breath work, and cleanses. Because most people think like, why would you do a fruit cleanse? Why would you jump into an ice bath and sit there for 5 minutes? What's the purpose of that? So the intention here is to share with you our experience with that, and hopefully, Mike will also shed some light and tell us more about this so that hopefully at the end of this call, you would want to try it with us. So, Mike, my first experience with cold plunging, it was actually I think it was below freezing in Houston, and we had a pool in the backyard, and my husband Roger was like, let's just jump in the pool. And it seemed like such a crazy idea, but we did it anyway. We jumped into that freezing cold water, and I felt absolutely exhilarated. I felt the most alive I've ever felt in my life. I literally felt unstoppable, unbreakable, unshakable. It was the best experience ever, and I was instantaneously hooked. So let me ask you, since I call you our very own Iceman, so tell us a little bit behind the, like, why would we do a cold plunge or an ice bath? What are the benefits of it? And do you know what happens? Like, why did I feel so alive?
That's an excellent question, Albina, and I'll give a little bit of background to my story. So in in December of 2016, I went to Sedona to do level 3 with Baron Baptiste. I did not pack adequately because I was thinking Sedona weather would be similar to Houston weather, much colder at night in Sedona than it is in Houston. And I showed up there with a long sleeve t-shirt, no gloves, no boots, no hat. Everybody else had these big jackets on. And I was cold for the first day or so, actually the first day. And then after our practice, I walked back to my cabin, which is about a 20-minute walk, wearing nothing but my sweat-soaked shorts because I didn't have that many warm clothes, and I didn't want to put what little warm clothes I had on and get them all sweaty. And then I realized somewhere along that walk, I wasn't cold at all, even though I was walking around completely covered in sweat, and it was probably in the high 30s, maybe low 40s, because this was early in the morning, around 10:30 or so. I shouldn't say not that early in the morning, but early enough where the sun really hadn't peaked and it hadn't really warmed up. A couple of weeks later, I am in Chicago and it is minus 20 degrees. Similar thing, very cold. And then I come across this Wim Hof guy on YouTube, and I took the Wim Hof online course. I went to do a weekend at his house outside of Amsterdam in Stroe. And I haven't had a warm bath or a warm shower since 2016. So
Wow.
That's my background. And to your point of what happens when you do the cold plunge, anytime you expose your body to any kind of stressor, your body's first response is kick in that fight or flight response. And when you expose yourself to cold, like jumping in a pool, like you were saying, when it was below freezing, your body's first reaction is, what the heck is this crazy lady doing, throwing me in this cold water right now? And so what your body did, Albina, was it dumped a lot of adrenaline into your body, which started warming up your system. And as you know, like simple biology, adrenaline is what gets dumped into your system when you have to wrestle a grizzly bear or lift a car off a burning child. And you just got a bunch of that just infused right into your system by doing that. And if you do that every day, your body starts getting conditioned to it. And like everything your body gets conditioned to, your body needs more. So you start amping it up. And as you amp things up, you start getting more adrenaline. You feel more empowered because every day you're doing this and your body knows I'm not certain what's going to happen today, but we're starting it off with this crazy cold exposure. So I better be ready for that saber-tooth tiger or whatever is going to come up after this.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Mike, this is like, I say it's better than drugs because I do believe that our bodies are wired, our bodies are created to just generate this experience for us, and one of the ways to feel that high is by taking those cold plunges, cold showers, or I prefer an ice bath. And you are correct. When you first jump into the cold water, your breath, the body tends to tighten up. You stop breathing, and the key is, from my understanding, is a breath technique, right? Focusing on the breath and relaxing your body. This is why I do believe that transformational breathing or pranayama breathing exercises go hand in hand with cold plunging. Can you tell us a little bit about the breathing, like the pattern of breathing that you do that helps you relax once you jump into that cold water?
No, absolutely, Albina. And you are right on about the breath work and the breath being the key, because your breath is your basic autonomic response. And when you jump into the cold water, your first thing to do is, like you said, you gasp. And any type of fright experience, even when you're holding your breath, your first instinct is to gasp. And then when you start regulating that and controlling that, that is the key. So the first part of the breath work is getting to a point where you have that gasp response because you've just submerged yourself into cold water, something shocking just occurred in your life, or you've just been holding your breath for several minutes and you resist that breath response and you take that pause. And that's that control, that conscious control of that autonomic function. And whenever you start tapping into the power of your breath and not going for that automatic gasp response, but you have that pause and then you realize, yes, I can breathe slow, I can be in control. If I'm in cold water, if I have a startling situation in front of me, if I've just held my breath for several minutes, I don't need to go for that gasp response. I can relax into this moment, which then helps you relax into all the other moments in your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mike. And from my experience with cold plunging, the reason why I do that is, like I said, I feel the most alive. I feel the most awake, the most energetic, creative self. If I start my day that way, I know that I literally can do anything I put my mind into. It's literally starting the day at the highest note for me. And because I feel so alive, I'm so full of energy. I have a very, very productive day. I have a very creative day, and I have a very positive day when I start my day with a cold plunge. Can you tell us a little bit about like the benefits of cold plunging overall, like the health benefits and such?
No, absolutely. And because I always like to do things in three, because it's easier for me to keep track of and easier for most people to remember, I'll give the big three, and there's certainly more than just this. The first is obviously the cardiovascular benefits, where most people don't exercise their cardiovascular system very effectively, even if you are doing cardio training. Wim Hof likes to say people wear too much clothes and then they're in these climate controlled environments. And so you're not exposing your body to these extreme swings in temperature, where the extreme hot or the extreme cold, where your body has to constrict very rapidly in the extreme cold and then expand very rapidly in the extreme heat. So preserve heat in extreme cold and then release heat whenever you're in a 120-degree room or whatever that temperature is. So the key is that the first thing that happens is your cardiovascular system rapidly contracts, your blood vessels shut down, blood flow to non-essential organs is significantly limited. And by doing this, you build more resilience in your system, because you're training your system to constrict, shut down, and then open back up again when you go out of that cold environment. The second thing that's most interesting for people that want to stay healthy is the immune system benefits. Is whenever they were doing studies of people who take cold showers, ice baths, cold plunges, they show that they have a significant higher level of white blood cells than people who don't. And so if you are worried about a virus, bacteria, or any other pathogens that may not have your best interest in mind, by exposing your body to the cold, cold is an excellent stressor that amps up your immune system. And that's the second benefit, is the immune system amp up. And then the third is, as a result of the constriction and expansion of your cardiovascular system, it increases your blood flow to everywhere, which is why you get that euphoric feeling. You have endorphins, you have serotonin, you have oxytocin, you have dopamine, all being released into your system whenever you're in this extreme stress environment. And then whenever your cells and capillaries open back up again, all of that is pushed out to all of your cells into your brain, which is why you have that euphoric experience.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I love that. Well, one of the reasons why Mike and I got on this Facebook Live today with you guys, because we wanted to tell you about the retreat that is coming up. We're leading a retreat that is called the Ultimate Detox Retreat at our Blue Sky Retreat Center in Taos, New Mexico. And, you know, my intention, the way I envision it, and Mike, I didn't even tell you about this, but we have built a Native American sweat lodge on our territory. And we invite Taos Pueblo natives to come and lead a sweat lodge ceremony for us. And it's a beautiful ceremony. You know, the sweat lodge is built in the form of a womb, you know, like a Mother Earth womb, and they create a fire, and it goes together with chanting and the intention setting. So the way I envision it, and fingers crossed we would be able to do that, is that we experience the beauty and the magic, the transformational, you know, process of the sweat lodge, because it is kind of like a process of rebirth, right? You literally crawl into the Mother Earth's womb, and we chant together, and we experience this like magical bonding together. And then after the sweat lodge, the way I see it is we'll do some sort of cold plunging, and it will either be an ice bath. We will have to figure out the logistics, or we have what is called a sequia, which is like a stream that runs through our territory at Blue Sky, and it's literally melted ice. So the way we do it, you know, the way Roger and I do it, is we sit in the sweat lodge, and then we run out and literally lay in the sequia, and it is the most exhilarating experience in the surroundings of the enchanted Taos, New Mexico. So this is how I see it. This is how like the cold plunging fits into the agenda of the Ultimate Detox Retreat. And of course, since you and I are yoga teachers, there'll be yoga, there'll be hiking. I would love for you to teach transformational breath work. And I've had the pleasure and the privilege to experience your breath work workshop a few months ago. And literally, like, I was able to tap into this altered state. I don't know what you did there, but I don't even know where I was. Like, I call it an altered state, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Can you just briefly tell us what happens when we do these breathing techniques, pranayama techniques that you teach us, Wim Hof? In particular, I'm referring to the Wim Hof method.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, Albina. So similar to the cold exposure, again, your body is put in a state of stress that it's not used to going into, and specifically with the Wim Hof breathing, and there'll be other breath work I'm happy to teach there as well. What you do is you amp up your adrenaline in your system, you lower your carbon dioxide level as well as your blood oxygenation level. So a lot of things start happening whenever you start messing with the balance of CO2 and O2 in your system, including a lot of people experience cramping of their hands, their feet, they have tingling of their face, they start hearing buzzing noises, they start seeing things because most people have their eyes closed. And it's an unusual experience, and it's an experience brought about by inducing stressors to your body that you're not used to. And very similar to the cold plunge, you have dopamine, you have oxytocin, some level of serotonin, and a lot of endorphins that are released whenever you're doing these breathing exercises, and then these very long breath holds at the end of the breathing exercises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thank you, Mike. Well, from my own experience, I'll tell you, like, I absolutely loved your breathing course that I got the privilege of taking with you, and ever since then I've been telling everybody about what you teach as far as the breathing and pranayama goes. Well, and lastly, Mike and I go back, I don't even know when, and I remember years ago, but it must have been like, what, 12 years ago now, 10 years ago at least, Mike and I really got into cleanses together, and we did all sorts of different, people may call it crazy cleansing techniques. And in our ultimate detox retreat, we will offer a 3-day fruit and vegetable cleanse. And I just want to take a moment to tell anybody who is watching this video about why you should do a cleanse once in a while. I live a very active lifestyle. I do yoga, I run, I exercise. My diet is pretty clean. And just a couple of months ago, I did a 3-day cleanse, which we will do at the ultimate detox retreat. It's called the medical medium cleanse. And I will tell you, I'll tell you that it wasn't a very easy thing for me to do, but at the same time, I did not realize the extent to which my body needed a cleanse. I literally felt like a drug addict having withdrawals. And even though like that first day was especially challenging with the headaches and like I with low energy and stuff, but by the end of the third day, I felt full of energy, and I felt my whole body, from my digestion to my skin to the way like my whole body just completely transformed in 3 days. My digestion started working, and I didn't even realize that it wasn't working properly. My skin became so clear and glowing. I literally I think like I'm in a pretty good shape, but in 3 days, my body totally slimmed down, as in like all the bloating was gone, and I felt full of energy. And I know, Mike, that you do lots of cleanses. Can you just briefly tell us, let's just say, the top 3 benefits, in your opinion, of why should people do a cleanse?
No, absolutely, Albina. And I know that you and I have different perspectives on things. I remember we did a cleanse workshop back in, I think it was 2014, as part of a 40-day program. And the things where most toxins are pulled into our body on a regular basis are animal proteins.
Mm-hmm.
The dairy is specifically, I call that out as its own thing, like the pasteurized dairy, and then all the GMO corn, the GMO wheat. And to your point, a lot of the bloating, a lot of the inflammation in our bodies are related to those 3 factors. And once we start cutting out the factory farm meat, the pasteurized milk, and the GMO corn and wheat, a lot of people's bloating issues go away. Inflammation is significantly reduced, or not, if not completely eliminated. Digestion increases or becomes a lot more efficient and a lot faster, as does elimination. And again, I can't say enough good things about cutting out those things, if not almost entirely from your diet. At least give your body a break a couple times a month, if not a couple times a year, where you eliminate those things. Because as you say, Albina, your energy level is going to skyrocket. You're going to need a lot less sleep. You're going to feel a lot cleaner as a result of taking a break from those 3 things and getting those out of your diet. And just doing a simple fruit and vegetable cleanse is the most efficient, easiest way to do it, as opposed to, I remember you and I comparing notes on some of the more extreme fasts we've done in the past.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so what I mean, I can only speak from my own experience, and my experience is, honestly, Mike, I didn't even realize how low my energy level was until I did a cleanse. I didn't realize, I didn't even know what was possible for me. Like, it's kind of like base level, right? Elevating that base level. I didn't know how amazing I could feel if I just did a cleanse. And I
Right.
do believe that most people, we walk through our lives and we have no idea how toxic our bodies are, unless you do a cleanse. We don't realize how sluggish we are until we do that cold plunge. And then,
Right.
of course, I do believe, I mean, this is the first time we're leading the ultimate cleanse, the detox retreat. And it's, I mean, I'll be honest, it's not an easy thing to do, right? Like to do a cleanse or to go and jump into that ice bath, it's not something that you just do walking off the street, right? And this is where Mike and I step in and we tell you why, and we prepare you, and we, bring you into a peak state, and we make it fun, and we make it engaging, and we are surrounded by like-minded people, and we do it together as a community, which is a fun way to do it rather than you just, doing it on your own, which is, in my experience, is way more challenging to do it on your own. So I'm excited about our retreat, and I think, Mike, will this be your first time at Blue Sky?
This will be my first time at Blue Sky. I'm absolutely looking forward to it, Albina. And one thing I would like to add to everything you just said, a lot of people that are looking for transformational breakthroughs, getting to a point where you start doing things to get out of your comfort zone, where you start cleaning up your diet. Certainly being at that beautiful retreat center in New Mexico is a great opportunity to disconnect from media of all sorts, limit your communication with the outside world, and just getting into a place of stillness where you can focus on the work you're there to do, where you're focused on getting to a point beyond where you think you're capable of going to, and exposing yourself to more cold in the cold water, more heat in that sweat lodge, cleaning yourself out with that cleanse, and spending some time in stillness, not to mention all the amazing yoga and breath work we're going to be facilitating while we're there.
Yes, preach, preach. I just feel some type of way, like I got a full body visceral reaction when you spoke, Mike. And then lastly, I want to add something. What was it? What I want to add in conclusion is that, like Joe Dispenza says, we kind of live our life based on our familiar past. And when we think about the future, because we based our future based on our familiar past, we just repeat the same patterns over and over and over again. In the last, 3, 4, 5 years of my life, I've been fascinated with the topic of manifesting, shaping your destiny, creating the reality beyond your wildest dreams. And you absolutely have to change your pattern. You have to, if you want to experience something new in your life, whatever that is, ultimate health, thriving intimate relationship, wellness, abundance, money, prosperity, career growth, you have to be willing to do something that you've never done before. If you keep repeating doing the same stuff that you've done in the past, you're just going to get what you've gotten in the past. You know what I mean? And Mike and I are giving you guys an opportunity to literally remove yourself from the familiarity of your everyday life. Come to Taos. It's called the land of enchantment for a reason. It's an energy vortex. I do believe God lives there. It's a very special, energetically speaking place, and you're going to absolutely change your patterns. We're going to get you into a place where you are no longer in the familiarity of your everyday life. So from that space, you can not only reflect on your life, but this is a place of power where you can literally create the life beyond your wildest dreams. And the cleanse is great, and the yoga is great, and the cold plunges is great. All of that is great, but the bigger thing for me is my life overall. I want to create a life that when I look at my life at the end of my life, I'm really blown away that I have been blessed with a life beyond my wildest dreams. And you don't just wake up like that. you get to create it, right? You get to create it on your own. So thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for your time. I know it's a Sunday. So do you want to add anything else in conclusion?
Albina, just because you threw the Joe Dispenza thing on the table, that opens up a whole new world. So I'll just be as brief as I can. One of Joe Dispenza's good friends, Bruce Lipton, a lot of research into stem cells in the late 60s, came up with the original epigenetic theory. And the most important thing about your cells are the external things that influence them, which are the things you put into your body, the things you expose your body to, the things you also consume through your mind. And that's the significant benefit, or the most significant benefit, of coming to our retreat. Is, yes, we're going to do some cool things with cold, with breath, with the fruit cleanse, but the most important thing is we are going to teach you tools to start transforming at the cellular level.
Yes, amen to that. So we hope, Mike and I hope, that you will join us. The retreat, the ultimate detox retreat, will take place May 12th through the 16th in the enchanted beauty of Taos, New Mexico. And I'll drop that registration link in the comments. We hope that you will join us. I know we're going to have fun. Whether or not you come or not, you guys, we're going to have fun. We just want you to come along and have fun with us and transform your life. All right, Mike, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And it is my honor, my joy, and my privilege to co-create with you.
I love you as well, Albina. Look forward to our retreat together.
Bye.